and welcome to this week's PAC pregame show coming to you from John F. Wiley Stadium at Waynesburg University. I'm Catherine Guy, and alongside me is Dave Franzak, and each week we'll be giving you a rundown of all the PAC football action. First up today is Geneva traveling to Thomas More. Geneva is 0-2 going into their first official PAC conference game against the three-time defending champion Saints. And Thomas More has won the last 2 years, including a 36-20 victory last year. Now, Dave, if you're Geneva, what are you looking to do?
Well, you're obviously going to be looking to pass the ball. The two big offensive threats from last year are back, and that's A.J. Delmonico and Alex Mack, their two receivers. Now, they did lose Muschetti and Girardi to graduation. They were really their big two threats. Muschetti could really do it anywhere on the field, and Girardi was a running quarterback. And that's really where Delmonico is going to want to come in on this. Delmonico's got to be their big man. So does Mack. They're probably going to get the majority of the touches, most likely Delmonico over Mack, but we'll see how that goes. Now, looking on the Thomas More side of things, they were just tagged with the number 9 team in the country, and they're going to be led by their quarterback, Robert Cuse. Cuse last year, if you can remember, I don't want to say he really torched the Yellow Jackets, but he had their way with them in the fourth quarter last year in that 14-10 victory. And he's going to be looking to go to one of his men out of the backfield, and that's Kendall Owens. Owens, right now, is the PAC return man of the week. He had 97 compiled total yards last week in just the return game, including 1 touchdown. And not only can he return, he's going to run the ball all over you, too. He's a quick little guy, and watch for him to come out of the backfield in the passing game and also in the run game.
And those odds for Owens coming off a big 44-13 win over Hanover last week. Once again, that game is at 1:30. Geneva at Thomas More at Bank of Kentucky Field. And the other 1:30 game today is, of course, happening right here at John F. Wiley Stadium. And we'll get more on that game from the booth with Dave Floyd and John Ledyard in just a few minutes. Then moving on to tonight's action, something a little bit unusual for the PAC. We have 2 night games tonight, both with 7 o'clock kicks. And the first one is Westminster at Grove City.
And that should be an intriguing matchup. Right now, this could be one of the best games of the week in the PAC. Westminster, this could be a real test for them. You never know what's going to happen with them. Sean Lee Hockey right now, their quarterback is listed as questionable. That is of last night, since last night, with the concussion that he suffered against Lycoming last week. If he's in there, he's obviously going to be a big threat. He's a big guy. He can throw to one of his main men. Gino Pasquinelli, if you can remember, is one that caught the touchdown late in the game against Waynesburg to tie the game up before Brian Gary blocked the extra point. Gino Pasquinelli, no matter who is at the helm of quarterback, he's going to have to be a threat. He's a big receiver. He has been one of the best in the PAC receiving-wise for at least the past 2 years. They're really going to have to rely on him. And on the defensive side of the ball for them, they're going to be looking at Aaron Nauer. He's an All-American right now, honorable mention according to one of a few sources. And him and Gearhart last year combined to be one of the best linebacking corps in the PAC. But with Gearhart now graduated, Nauer's really going to have to step up and be that tackle man.
That game, one of the oldest series in the nation. Again, it's Westminster at Grove City. Grove City kind of sitting in an odd place right now, coming in 0-2 after a 27-7 loss last week to Lebanon Valley. So that's a place they haven't been in much, but they have to look out because Westminster is going to look to avenge that loss from last year.
And what really is riding in their favor is they know how to play night games. Westminster, they haven't played a night game in a while, and they're not very good when it comes to night games. So we'll see how that goes. Should be an intriguing matchup.
And the other night matchup tonight is W&J at Bethany. That is the longest running series in the PAC. This is the 89th meeting between those two teams, and W&J has won the last 28 consecutive games, and they haven't lost a PAC opener since 2005. So Dave, how is W&J looking to keep that going today?
Well, they're going to have to look to stop the run game of Eric Walker. He's only 376 yards short of 3,000 career yards for Bethany. So that's certainly going to be an issue. And they're going to have to look at Mac Ramard, Bethany's quarterback. He's a big kid. He was a D1 prospect, a true sophomore. He's got a lefty cannon, but he's almost like a tight end back there. He's a big, big kid. He's hard to bring down. He will use his feet against you. And that's something that W&J is going to really, really try to have to stop. And if they can, I think W&J can be very, very successful.
So Bethany last week, obviously, they had no game. It was canceled against King's College. If you're them, what are you looking to do after a week off? What do you think it's going to take?
Well, they're going to have to get the ball to Eric Walker. Walker, as I mentioned, he is such a threat when it comes to this offense. He almost carries their team. I don't want to say he definitely does, because Grimard certainly carries a lot on his shoulders. But between the two of them, it could be quite a game.
And that game again, W&J at Bethany at 7 p.m. And the last team that you have to mention with a bye week this week is St. Vincent. They had a big 55-3 win last week, but when you talk about St. Vincent, you have to talk about Aaron Smetanka.
Aaron Smetanka, I mean, what can't you say about Smetanka? He's a big guy just like Gerard. And he's currently the reigning offensive player of the week. So we'll see what they can do with their off week in getting prepared for their first PAC game, as Geneva is taking theirs today. They're both now official members of the conference, so we'll see what they can do with their off week.
So Dave, lastly, it's time for our picks. Geneva, Thomas More, who you got?
I got to go with the Saints. They're at home. Geneva is a little unbalanced right now. They're still going to try to find themselves. They have a new quarterback in their system. Thomas More has everything that they need in place. They have Cuse and they have Owens, as we mentioned earlier. So I'm going to go with Thomas More in their home game.
I'm going to have to agree with you and also go with Thomas More, because they're one of those teams that they've proved year in and year out that they can stand at the top of this conference. And until a team comes in that proves that they can really consistently beat Thomas More and W&J, I'm thinking that Thomas More and W&J have 1 and 2 this year.
Certainly. Absolutely.
Let's look at Teal and Waynesburg. Who are you taking?
Well, the Tomcats are coming off of a really rough year last year. And last year, I don't want to get too much into it, but they let up 6 straight turnovers in 6 straight possessions. I think the Yellow Jackets really have a really big favor in this. They're coming off of a bye week, an unintentional bye week, with the rain out of the Wilkes game. They're going to be looking at some of their key players coming back from last year. Jeff Young, Christian Jackson, Bertrand Nagompa, and Justin Falcon, Jamal Bowers, all coming out of the backfield. All-American and Adam Moses at the tight end. Josh Graham, he's in his 3rd start at the helm of the Jackets. I think the Jackets take this game big.
I'm going to have to agree with you again. I think especially after last year with Waynesburg, they had so much momentum towards the end of the season, almost getting victories against Thomas More and W&J, and I think that they really want to prove that they can beat those 2 teams this year and come out and start strong. Let's look at Westminster Grove City.
Now, I have some stipulations to this game. With Lee Hockey, I say Westminster takes this game. I think they're kind of coming with a back year. They're going to rebuild they rebuilt their team a little bit last year. They found their feelings. Without Lee Hockey, I got to go with Grove City, though. Lee Hockey is pretty much the main man, passing to Pasquinelli for the Titans.
I think I'm going to have to take Grove City either way, just given the way Westminster's been these past couple years. They're kind of, I want to say, a little bit inconsistent, so I'm going to have to take Grove City either way. And let's look at W&J and Bethany.
I'm going with the upset on this one. I'm picking Bethany in this game. I think Eric Walker is so dynamic. I think he can do it everywhere. He can run all over you. He can receive the ball out of the backfield rather well. So I think I'm going to go with Bethany in this one over top of W&J. They're going to break that streak this year. They're going to get the win. They're not making it 29 consecutive losses.
I'm going to have to disagree with you and take W&J just because of the fact for what I said, that somebody really has to prove that they can stand up to them and Thomas More at the top 2. Well, that does it for this week's PAC pregame show. Thank you for tuning in. Coming up next, we'll have more from Dave Floyd and John Ledyard in the booth. It's the Teal College Tomcats at the Waynesburg University Yellow Jackets.